Hello and welcome to the Brown Bagging Podcast, the newest podcast of a mixed bag.
A mixed bag,
Yes. Hello, I'm your host, Dato, and with me,
I'm Brad.
I have... Yeah.
It's too bad I'm interrupting you. That's all that matters.
Oh, this is off to a great start.
Yeah.
This podcast here is we're gonna do a nice mixed bag of news, games, anything that we actually kind of feel like talking about, and one big topic every week or every other week or whenever we actually decide to do it.
Yeah, who knows? We're still kind of up in the air about scheduling.
Yeah. So, but let's start this off right and say, how are you doing, Brad?
I'm doing all right. You know, coming to you live from my mother's wonderful closet.
I'm sitting in my. I'm sitting here in my office as well.
Oh,
quote unquote
office. Look at you.
When I mean office, I mean just a separate bedroom away from my bedroom. But, Brad, I need you to tell me something.
Yes.
Tell me something about the wonderful game that is Cuphead.
Oh, so we're starting with Cuphead then. Okay.
Yes, we are.
Well, let me just get it out there immediately that I fucking hate Cuphead, but I can't stop playing it. It makes me feel absolutely terrible about myself, but I can't stop playing it, and that's the sign of a good game.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been as salt as I've been playing Cuphead than I am now. Like,
yeah.
I played Cuphead for like 4 hours yesterday, and my controller ended on the ground by the time I was done.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I care too much about my electronics. I treat them like my children. So when I get real tilted, I kind of I put it down. I kind of hit myself. I can't take it. I can't take this game. It's gonna give me a heart attack.
You punch your desk.
Yeah, exactly.
You're getting a little bit mad.
Man.
Like, I've played all of the Souls games.
Oh, so have
I've played a ton of frustrating video. I've never felt more frustrated while playing Cuphead.
Because for me, that I was talking with some other friends about this last night, because I'm really trying to sell the game to a lot of people. Because this is a game I want to really do well, because they've been working on this for God knows how many years, and it is just an achievement.
It's been like 3 E3s in a row.
There's just nothing else like it right now. I don't know how to describe it. Everything's hand-drawn. It's just the animation, the music, everything is like period accurate, but it's a modern digital piece of art.
Yeah, dude, hand-drawn animation is going down going away.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because you see Cuphead and then you see games like Skullgirls,
right?
Where
or
they're
Indivisible.
both yeah. They're all hand-drawn and you see the painstaking effort it is. And I understand why it's going away because it takes so much effort.
Time and money, which is two things that people don't understand about video games.
Yeah, no, you just create a video game, right?
Yeah, it's that easy.
You just sit down, and 10 minutes later you're done, right?
Yeah, you download Game Maker. I mean, it's literally called Game Maker. You hit the game button, and then poof, video game.
You type a little document of what you want the game to be, and boom.
Yeah, video game.
I think Mike Z from Skullgirls and Indivisible, he's the lead programmer.
Right.
When the Indivisible stuff was coming out, he was like, yeah, let me just go flip on the button that changes the engine from a fighting game to RPG.
Right.
Let me just do that. Oh, cool, it's done. But back to Cuphead, how far are you in Cuphead right now?
Okay, so I'm on the second island, and I've defeated 2 bosses and the mausoleum. I defeated the genie boss. I can't remember any of their names. I should have had this up.
It's the clown, Beppy the clown, I think.
Is he a clown? No, I think he's a genie.
I'm thinking you told me this last night. You did beat the clown though.
Yes, I did beat the clown. He's the one that's on the roller coaster and he turns into a big old balloon man.
Yeah.
And then also the so actually I've defeated more than I thought actually. I've defeated 3 bosses and 1 run and gun level, which was the what was the run and gun level in the second island?
It's the carnival one.
The carnival level.
Oh, dude, the carnival one whooped just whooped me back and forth.
You should have heard me last night, man. I was cursing up a storm because it's just there were so many things that it's great game design, and the reason I get so frustrated with this game is that every time there's a major fuck up, it's my fault. And I know it's my fault. I just need to get better at the game. But that's easier said than done.
Yeah, no, that's the funnest part about this game is that literally you're sitting there just like, everything I'm doing is my fault. I mean, I can yell, oh, that was an unfair part of the game, but let's be honest, it was my fault.
Like, the sequence that kept getting me in the carnival level was immediately just those two back-to-back segments in the very beginning when you start. When you have the trampoline on legs that's running around.
Yes.
Which, the thing that kept
you just have to slow down.
Exactly.
You have to slow down.
I kept trying to speedrun it because I was like, okay, this is the easiest part. I can just go through this. But the thing that kept screwing me over was the trampoline. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If it even so much as touches you, it launches you in the air. So you have to kind of jump over it if you're seeing one of the little balloons with faces flying by. So I kept
But then you could get a really bad RNG generator there where a balloon is like at the height where you can't jump over the balloon, and then the trampoline's coming at the same time. So you're just like, I have to take this hit.
Right.
I can't take this hit.
That there again, like I said, it's good game design, and it's just you gotta have that awareness. You can never like just rush through this game. You have to be always watching because there could be something that can hit you at any moment. But then immediately after that, you get to the second part, and this was a little. It's where you're on those platforms, and the cannons are shooting the balls at you, and if the balls hit the platform, it gets knocked down. Thankfully, something I did like about this game too, unlike things like Shovel Knight or something that are doing this retro throwback, the pits aren't an instant death in Cuphead, which I commend them for doing that, because this
I think that's one of my.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I think that's one of my least favorite things about Shovel Knight is just like, I'll be doing really well, then hit the pit, and I'm like, well, I'm dead.
Yeah. At least at least Shovel Knight has checkpoints. Cuphead does not have checkpoints. You die in a level, you go all the way back to the beginning.
Can you imagine if it was a run and gun to a boss every time?
Oh god, no. Well, they have like mini bosses kind of in the run and gun levels, like thrown in there every once in a while. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments of Cuphead is beating a boss or beating a run and gun, and then it just goes time to complete 1 minute 45 seconds, and I went, what?
Well, that's because it's just the winning run. It counts the winning run. I wish it counted how long it took you, like in total, to finish the level, because I want to see that stat.
No, because it's 1 minute 45, and I'm just like, even on the winning one, I'm like, that felt like 5-10 minutes of me just dodging things. I did not realize that's a minute, and I think that's such a brilliant thing about the game design is how they keep the animations so low, amount of animations they need. Is all boss fights really only take 2 minutes long, tops. But, it's so hard that you're constantly going and getting killed, and you're like, all right.
Well, see, the thing that fascinated me, again, just what an achievement this game is, in my eyes, is I was looking ahead because I was watching other people stream it because I want to see and feel bad about myself being shitty at this game. But I was watching people like Kraken and Iron Pineapple. They were streaming this, and none of the bosses are reused. Every single boss is new. Lot of games,
all the enemies are all unique to their level.
They're never reused. Which again, it's all hand drawn. That is just bonkers.
It's amazing because like you're looking at them and you're like, everything is hand drawn.
Yeah,
and all the I was talking to a friend of mine last night about it too, where when you play it so long, you really start to see the animations. Like you really see, like it kind of breaks down a little bit where you're just like, okay, I could see where they're kind of saving money on some of these animations, but at the same time you're like, but there's like 100 different variations of different enemies and bosses that all have oh my god, that's amazing.
Or even like the backgrounds during like boss fights and stuff. Like the one that really impressed me, like again going back to that clown boss that I kept fucking dying to, like you see the roller coaster coming in the background, and so like,
and that's the way that you know.
Yeah,
it's the way that you know that the roller coaster's coming.
Yeah, and like it telegraphs the attack. And so you just, again, you have to have this sort of awareness to everything. It's like a bullet hell game, but a side-scroller. I don't know. It's so strange.
I think my favorite bosses in that game is the shoot 'em up sections. I love the shmup sections. I could go through this. If this game was just a shmup, I think I would be like, this would be the best.
Is it with the little biplane, right? You're talking about the biplane.
Yeah, the little
segments?
biplane.
Yeah.
Like I just love the. I do better on the shoot 'em up section, the shmup sections, than any of the other like boss
Really,
sections.
the side scroller.
Yeah, the side scroller is always like, because there's so much going on with the side scroller.
Right.
Like you're not there yet. But when you get to the Mega Man, like, you look at this boss and you're like, this is just from Mega Man 2.
It's the Mega Man dragon. Yeah.
It's the Mega Man dragon. And the thing is, when I played Mega Man 2, when I was, like, in middle school, I took Mega Man 2 and I threw it in the trash because I couldn't beat that dragon boss.
Isn't he like a halfway point on one of the levels? Don't you have to beat him to then keep going? I haven't played Mega Man 2 in a long time.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But I couldn't beat that boss for the life of me. So when I encountered this boss in Cuphead, I was like, man, this might make me quit. And it was the boss that took me the longest amount of time out of any of the bosses in the entire game, just because, like, I think it's its third form, just is so frustrating.
That's
and
the one where he has 3 heads, right?
No, that's the fourth.
Okay.
That's the final form.
Of course.
It's the form right before. It's the flames, I think.
Yeah.
It's the marching flames. But the marching flames, like, I was just like, there's too much going on, because you have to jump the platforms, you have to dodge his attacks, you have to dodge the flame attacks, you have to, like, keep shooting.
Yeah.
But dude, this game, I'm looking forward to when we both finish this game and just have a long conversation about how everything is about it.
Well, how long has it even been out now? A week?
Dustin.
Less than a week? Yeah.
It came out, I hung out with you Saturday, so it came out Friday,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. Jeez. Because, like, people now have already learned how to speedrun it and beat it without taking a single hit. And it's just the mastery.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, no, the controls are just so tight. You can like, if you want to do something, it's perfectly within your ability. You just have to know how to work within the game.
Yeah, there's no delay on the button presses. There's like, the minute you hit the button, your character is doing that move. It's fantastic. And I thought the Frog Brothers were terrible, and then I got to Island 2. And then I thought Island 2 was terrible, and then I got to Island 3.
Right. Oh, man. Don't say that.
I'm on Island 3, and there's like, I'm stuck on like 2 bosses right now, and I'm just like, that was last night where I just like, all right, throw the controller on the ground, walk away, and let me go play my baby MMO game where I'll feel powerful. I think I played a that's how me and my buddy have been doing it. We sit there and we spend like 2 hours playing Cuphead.
Right.
And then we both surrender and go play Final Fantasy 14 for like 4 hours just to feel good about ourselves.
Baby game.
Hey man, I only have to hit a button like every 3 seconds. Just wait for the cooldown.
And this is why I don't like MMOs. Anyway, back to Cuphead.
Moving on from Cuphead, I need to ask you this now. Tell me about the wonderful world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, man. Okay, so we're going here, huh? Yeah. So I just watched another episode today.
Okay. Let me preface this.
Spoilers,
Let me preface this first. Me, being a huge JoJo fan, knowing all about the JoJos. I've read all the mangas, I've watched all the animes. And Brad here is just being introduced to JoJo.
Exactly. I'm an anime novice at best, and Dato here is Weeb Master General. So
no, I think I'm just a corporal compared to a lot of other people.
Exactly. But I just, my relationship with JoJo, it's just one of those things that, being someone that goes on the internet a lot, it's just so ubiquitous on the internet. People like make memes out of it all the time. And like I said, a passing anime fan. I mean, I've seen it before. I recognize the designs, like some of the powers, and it was just one of those things that I was like, oh, I gotta sit down and watch JoJo. And one of these days, we were talking, and you were telling me all about it, and I was like, all right, finally, today's the day. I'm just gonna sit down. I'm gonna watch JoJo, and and you sent
me that text where you're just like, I started JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
My initial 2 thoughts were, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And my second immediate thought was, I love this, and I need to finish this series.
That's my entire relationship, is that
Yeah.
it's so out there. It doesn't get its name bizarre for no reason.
Right.
And it just keeps getting more and more bizarre. Like, I think there was one night, me and my friends just sat down, and one person hasn't seen JoJo, and me and my other buddy have both seen JoJo. And we just spent the night just being like, hey, remember that moment in JoJo? And then the other guy's like, that can't be real. And I'm like, it is.
This actually happened.
Like, don't you, like, this is slight spoilers, but just, you know, there's that moment where you see the stand user and you go, the stand user's a monkey and his stand's a boat? What? Or like, that stand user.
If you see a problem here, I don't think you're thinking right.
that stand user's stand is a radio tower. What?
I thought they were all humanoid. This doesn't make any sense.
They're mostly humanoid, and then you get the one that's really out there, and you're just like, this just this reinvigorates the entire like identity of what a stand is.
Right. Well, see, you keep talking about that. I haven't even gotten to stands yet.
Yeah,
I'm
where are you
only
right now?
on the second story
Part
with
second story
with Joseph Joestar.
You're gonna say.
Yeah, exactly. But so what just happened? JoJo and Caesar destroyed the evil brain from another world that is AC/DC. Again, like, I know I keep making jokes about how fucking stupid the show is, but actually it has moments that are legitimately horrifying. Like, it's like body horror, like fucking like John Carpenter or David Cronenberg. It comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh god. Can we go back to the funny muscle men posing?
And then you cut to just it.
Yeah, exactly. There's like a man that can like contort his body with like all these gross muscle noises, and he's like crunching and squishing, and you're just like, oh, stop.
Yeah, no, that's my exact love for this series. And then but then wrapped in all this ridiculousness is a good story of like heroes versus villains.
Right.
Of like, you know, part 2 is just this great story of just like, you know, Joseph versus these godlike beings, the Pillarmen. Mm-hmm. And like part 3 is this like journey to Egypt, and like part 4 is like this small town investigation, and like part 5 is this mafia drama. Like, it's he finishes a part and he goes, what's my next genre? It's
exactly
what I enjoy about it, is that it's like he has the same, like, you know, ideas going on, but it's always a different theme and story each time, so it feels new and fresh every time you get to it.
It's kind of like, this is going to be a very, very loose comparison here, but bear with me. If you watch something like the show Fargo, they have essentially a framing narrative that's very loose, and then they do an anthology-style thing where they just plop characters at different points in a timeline in this one kind of area. But the difference here is it's the family line that is the consistent variable in the story. It's the Joestars.
Yeah, it's the Joestars.
And then you plop a different Joestar in this kind of anthology series, this loose anthology series, just on different little timelines, and that's really cool.
With things being loosely related to each other.
Exactly, and it's been
like
going on since the 80s.
Yeah, characters will show up. Yeah, it's really funny because you're like, oh, spoilers for JoJo, and I'm like, this series has been out since the 80s.
The anime hasn't even caught up with the 5th chapter or whatever.
Part 5. It hasn't even hit. It hasn't even hit the part where the manga hit the year 2000.
Right. Oh man.
Like, I'm sitting here waiting for the Part 5 anime to be released so I could see it in all its glory, and for just the fan reaction to just be like, the anime only viewers to just be like, wait, there was muscle men over here. What's up with these androgynous males now?
These skinny boys.
These skinny boys. And you're like, you know, Araki was a guy of his time.
Right.
He designed his characters like the time. But yeah, I look forward to more conversations of you just watching JoJo,
Right.
And you just being like, oh, so this is happening now. So, moving from one anime to another, you just finished the second season of My Hero Academia.
Yes, I did. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay.
If this sounds like me just asking Brad his stuff, is that my week is very light. I don't do a lot of things that are not different. So
well, since just for reference here, for anyone wondering, if you couldn't tell, I've been consuming a lot of media because I am currently unemployed. So I've just been watching stuff like crazy while I'm applying to jobs. But yeah, I also finished My Hero Academia. I did that before I started watching JoJo because I've told Dato this multiple times. I can only watch one anime at a time, especially with these shows where there are so many characters. So many names.
You need to comprise them. So like, what I like about My Hero Academia though is that every time it's a new episode and every time they show a character, there's always the character name above them. So at
with
least
their
you're
power
like, okay.
and like everything. In case you
You're
forgot.
like, okay, in case you forgot.
Here's what the bird boy does.
So tell me about your feelings on My Hero Academia.
Okay, well, so I tried watching it when the first season came out. At least when it got released here in America. Did it do simulcast in America when it launched?
Yeah, it did. It was simulcasted.
Okay, then I might have started watching before the first season even ended. And
because I shot you a text and I said, hey, you should check this out if you like superheroes.
I watched 4 or 5 episodes of the first season, and I was like, this isn't really for me. I don't like Deku. He's kind of a lame, like, wet noodle of a character. And
I'm sitting there, and I think I remember I was sitting like in the library, and I was just like, I got your text, and I just looked over to my friend who's also seen the series, and I'm like, he doesn't get it yet.
Well, it's because he's read all the manga.
Yeah.
So he knows
I'm all caught up.
But he knew what Zeko became. And as I was watching it, I was like, man, he's just kind of a loser. Like, anytime something happens, he cries about it. And, like, he doesn't do anything. Like, he has his heroic moments, but most of the time he just seems like kind of a wet noodle, like I was saying. But if you stick with it, to anyone that hasn't seen My Hero Academia, he becomes probably one of the best anime characters I think I've ever seen.
It's because he grows.
Exactly. He has an actual arc. I like it honestly better than some characters where, they're just valiant hero all the time. Real static.
It's his journey to become the number one hero.
He has to replace All Might.
And what I like about it is that I'm a huge fan of the series. It's like one of my favorite mangas that I'm reading right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've reread it 4 or 5, 6 times. Like, it's so short. Like, it's not One Piece length, but it's so short that I could just have an off day and just go, I'm bored. Let me just reread through all of My Hero Academia again. And it's only like, it'll only take me like a day to just get through it.
Right.
And so, one of my favorite details is at the beginning. It's almost as if it's him telling the story from the future looking back.
Mm-hmm.
So what I enjoy is that it's kind of like this reminiscent of like, here's the journey that we're going on. And like, I'm over here in the future being super awesome, but let me show you how I get to being super awesome.
Right.
And just, I love his character development, and I'll only go to where the anime gets to, but like, I love his character development, and I love how he continuously is growing his powers, and I love how all the characters are constantly growing their powers. Because you start off, and like, you see all these like people, you're like, alright, stereotypical powers, and then you see them do really cool things with them.
Yeah. It's like a deconstruction of, superhero tropes.
Like, I think, like, the tournament arc, like, I didn't ask you, what were your feelings about that tournament arc?
What were my feelings? Oh man, that's a tough question. Well, I did really enjoy it because, like what you were saying, something I didn't even realize, in the manga, they just skip over a lot of the actual bouts. That they show.
There's like a whole episode that's all just those bouts that they didn't show.
Which, I don't know how they could miss an opportunity like that, because those fights are some of the most creative parts of the show.
Well, the main fights are shown. So,
Yeah.
like, Uraraka versus Bakugo, Todoroki versus Deku, like, all of those are shown. But, like, the little smaller fights with some of, like, the supporting casts are the ones they didn't show.
Right.
So, Momo versus Todoroki, Tokiyomi, the bird boy, but, like, that built into Momo's character of, like, her insecurities about her being a hero.
Right.
Ashido versus Aoyama, like, stuff like that. But, yeah, I really enjoy that turn, because it really showcase, like, because the first season doesn't really showcase a lot of the side characters a lot.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. We kind of really only focus on Deku, Uraraka, and Ueda.
Bakugo and Ida, yeah, those characters. And everyone else is just a face that you get to see later on.
Yeah. You kind of they're just kind of like background set pieces.
Yeah. But like, you look at their designs and you're like, oh my god, that costume though is so dope. What does he do? Why does that guy look like? What's the story behind that Zuko looking guy?
Oh man, the costume designs in this show though sometimes, particularly for me though, it's the female characters. It's very fan servicey.
Okay. I agree with you, because there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite moments is just, like, one of the female heroes is just going, like, back when I was a hero, like, I think it was, like, the interview between Midnight and Mount Lady in the anime, where it's just, like, costumes used to be skimpy because of, like, their quirk, but now it's just, used for popularity.
Right.
But I agree with you. Like, granted, there's some, like Momo's character's design is like, it's a very skimpy outfit, but that's because she needs as much skin showing as possible.
Right, so she can make the stuff come out.
Yeah.
She's the producer one, right?
Yeah, she's the creation one.
Creation.
But, like, there's other ones that I'm like, okay, there's a couple that you're like, okay, that's a little bit too much. Midnight over 18 hero.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm excited for this season 3 that'll come out next year, most likely.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about, because unlike One Punch Man, they actually have a dedicated schedule that they're working on.
A dedicated schedule and a dedicated staff. So moving on from that, let me. What was the last thing I was going to talk about before we move on from our weeks? Oh. Have you played the game Fortnite, Brad?
I have not yet.
Okay, because I've been playing a lot of Fortnite.
Have you been playing the original, like, base Fortnite, or
No,
the
no,
Battle Royale?
No, the free Battle Royale game. The free PUBG, you don't have money to buy PUBG, play Fortnite. I've been playing a lot of Fortnite lately. That game's good.
Is it good? Okay.
It's good. It's a really fun game to sit down with your friends and just have some fun. Because I was playing it with a couple of my buddies on Sunday. And we just sat down and we played like 5 hours of Fortnite. Like, usually I was like, okay, I'll only play like 1 hour. But like, we played so long of Fortnite. And by the end of it, I was like, I think I'm getting better at this game. I still can't shoot for the life of me.
It's third person, right?
It's a third-person shooter.
Right.
But there's just so many moments where I'm just like, I see an enemy and I'm just like, I got this. I'm dead now. And I think my favorite moment was, this is a game that you play with your friends. This is not a game you play by yourself. Because I was playing it with a mutual friend of ours, Brad. A mutual friend, Jay.
Yes.
And we were playing it. And he was being super serious about playing. Like, you know how he gets. He was getting serious, like, all right, Marines, let's drop down here. And then we were playing it. And there'll be moments where both of us have shotguns. And we'd be shooting at one enemy, and I'm bobbing and weaving to avoid the enemy, and he's staying stationary, and then he shoots me in the back.
Oh, is there friendly fire?
There's friendly fire.
Because I know for a fact there's friendly fire in PUBG.
So, the amount of deaths I had to friendly fire, specifically to our mutual friend Jay, was about 5 that night. And it's just such a fun game that, it's free to play. If you haven't played Fortnite, just give it a try.
Yeah.
If you have any passing interest in a decent third-person shooter that is free to play,
yeah, a competitive
it's
third-person shooter game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a competitive third-person shooter game. Mm-hmm. But it's so silly. The art style is silly. The gameplay is silly. It's just everything about it is silly. I think my favorite thing I told a friend of mine was the art style looks like. Do you remember that old web browser MMO game, Toontown?
I do remember Toontown. I never played it because didn't you have to pay for it?
There was like a level 15 cap or something for free. I think I played it as much as that level 15 cap let me.
But yeah, kind of that Disney...
the Disney MMO, kind of.
Yeah.
The art style is very similar to, Toontown, in a way.
I mean, I'm on the website now, and I'm looking at, screenshots. And
I don't mean the characters, because it's obviously... I mean, the world.
Right.
You look at the windows, you look at stuff like that, the houses designs. It's very cartoonish. And I think that's what's probably, what makes it a little bit better than PUBG, in my opinion, is because PUBG is supposed to be grounded in reality because it's realistic. It's a realistic first-person shooter, and that creates limitations.
I was gonna say that makes it kind of dull.
Yeah, there's limitations to what you can do to it.
I mean,
in it.
How many times have you watched a PUBG match where it's the same trenchcoat guy picking up the same AK-47, shooting the same other trenchcoat guy holding an AK-47?
So, here's the thing. I spend my days doing work and watching PUBG streamers while I'm doing that said work.
Right.
Because they're the only daily streamers that I know of. And I'm going to be honest, I don't watch the PUBG for the game. I watch it for the streamers. I sit there and I listen to the streamers talk about random stuff. That's why I go on and watch PUBG games. Because I realize that too. It's I look over, I'm like, oh look, they're dropping into school. Okay, they died. Okay, now they're redropped. Okay, let me... But with Fortnite, there's that cartoonish feel that allows you to do stuff like build immediately. And, you're getting shot, so you're just going to start building walls to defend yourself from bullets. Or oh, look, there's this mountain. Let me just build a staircase up the mountain. And all these different things that is available in that system.
I'm actually watching someone stream it right now. I'm assuming this is Battle Royale. I have no idea.
Do all the characters look not like they're designed?
What do you mean they're not designed?
Do they look like generic
This is Battle Royale. Okay. They're chasing someone around with a sniper rifle on a rooftop. They just built a staircase to get on the roof, and then they destroyed the stairs. So that brings another level of complexity to this that PUBG doesn't have as the building mechanic.
Yeah, I wish they had a little bit more... I wish the map was bigger. My only issue with the game is I wish the map was bigger.
Right, but what you were telling me about was that I would enjoy the fact that the map is small because it makes the rounds go faster.
It makes it go faster. I think what I mean is I want it slightly bigger with more areas.
Okay. Are there multiple maps, or is it still just the one map?
It's just one map.
Okay.
I think what I really want is multiple maps.
Hold on.
Multiple maps of the same size. Knocking.
Yeah, no, someone's nailing stuff to the wall.
Okay. But, no, what I want is multiple maps of the same size. With different areas to drop in. Because, it's one of those things that gets a little bit redundant of okay, where am I going to drop into? I'm just going to drop in the same place. And that's my only issue with it is I wish there was a little bit more variety, but I could, it's just me who wants a variety for variety's sakes. It's fun by itself. But I think that's all for the weeks.
All right.
I think it's time we talk about some news.
Do you have headlines that you actually want to discuss? I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah.
You're just throwing it at me like a curveball. Okay, let's get this started.
Yeah. Yeah, I have about five headlines that I looked up last night.
Okay. Look at you, Mr. Mr. Podcast Galore. Oh, man.
When I talked to you last night, I went, I should probably make that docket. And then I went to go play Final Fantasy, and then I went to bed, and then I said, I forgot to make the docket, so I pulled up a bunch of random stories. So, honestly, it was a really light news week. There was nothing really going on.
No.
But what I want to talk about is you are a fan of Red Dead Redemption.
Yes, I am.
I never beat the game. I got a good ways. I enjoy Red Dead Redemption.
How dare you drop this news on me now, Dato? I need you to drop whatever the fuck you're doing, whatever you're playing. I don't care. You need to beat Red Dead Redemption. I don't think you understand. It is my favorite game from last generation and legitimately my favorite story in any video game.
No, I get you. It's one of those moments where I look back and I go, man, I really should have beat Red Dead Redemption.
Oh my god, it was just... It's the closest I can think of to being a perfect game. I know a lot of people prefer like Grand Theft Auto 5, but going from Red Dead Redemption to Grand Theft Auto 5, I was just like, it lost it for me. I think Red Dead Redemption to this point is still the best game Rockstar has ever made. I will fight you with that opinion.
I'm not gonna fight you on that because I agree. Red Dead Redemption Red Dead Redemption is great. Like, even though I didn't finish it, I got to like the halfway point. Because I think what happened was my Xbox died, so I never got to finish it.
Do it. And something that still makes me a little angry is that
never on PC.
It's never been on PC, and it's just kind of trapped.
But I do own a PS3 copy lying around somewhere. I don't know where it is.
You need to find
a PS3 copy. It's a PS3 copy that also includes the big DLC.
Right.
The zombie one.
Oh, Undead Nightmare.
Undead Nightmare, yes. It was like the Game of the Year edition. But, when I have like a free year, I'll play Red Dead Redemption. Because that game's long. That's a long game. Yeah. And I'm not young anymore. I don't have time.
Oh, no, it's a long game. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's a long game. It has what I would consider 3 arcs. Honestly,
I think I got to the second arc.
So I remember. Did you go to Mexico?
Yeah, I think I was in Mexico, but I didn't get past that. I remember back when we were like in middle school, high school, man, when we played online Red Dead Redemption. That was some fun stuff. That was fun
too. Which that was another thing that I really liked about the online of Red Dead Redemption was it was very simplistic. Similar to what they did with GTA 4, which was you would literally just get plopped in the map with like 20 other people, and you were free to do whatever you wanted. And there were these little side missions you could do, and of course there were always people that were fucking assholes and would ride up on a horse with everything unlocked and just instant headshot you and then run away. So that was a little frustrating. But unlike what they did with GTA 5, where they had shark carts, so you could just straight up buy whatever you wanted and just wreck everyone that comes onto a server. Red Dead Redemption, it was just if you were willing to put in the time, you could unlock everything and play the game really well.
All right, so talking about Red Dead.
Yes.
Let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer just dropping last week.
Was it a shadow drop? Did they do another shadow drop? They're just like, by the way, tomorrow, I think is what they said.
Yeah, they dropped it. It was like a minute 30 trailer. I took a look at it like an hour ago. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it when it dropped. It was a story trailer, so it was them getting you acquainted with the characters that are going to be in.
Dude, this looks like the like Dirty Dozen, man. Like
exactly, or Magnificent Seven. Something like that. So it looks like you're going to be rolling with a posse of cow wranglers and bad hombres.
Yeah, because like Red Dead Redemption 1, you kind of were like a hero.
Yeah, anti-hero.
Anti-hero.
Yeah.
But in this, it looks like you're just straight up like...
Straight villain.
Yeah. Just bandits and robbers.
And
you're just getting your posse of bandits and robbers.
But the interesting fact to bring up here is it's actually a prequel to Red Dead Redemption because
Yeah.
the characters are all the posse that John Marston, who was the main character of Red Dead Redemption 1, constantly references in the first game. Of like, we were bad people doing bad things, and they left me to die. So I'm going to assume that's what this game is going to be about.
So, like, you're going to just have John Marston just be in your posse.
Exactly. I don't know. Well, they might do what they did with Grand Theft Auto 5, where you can control everyone in the posse and switch between them, is what I'm going to assume that they do.
Okay.
But let me look up that first poster they released, because it shows you how many people are going to be in the posse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah,
There's going to be 7 people in this posse.
Yeah.
The Vanderlyn, Dutch Vanderlyn posse.
Yeah. But, yo, like, I'll get that game when it comes out. That comes out for what? No, just console exclusivity?
Currently, they haven't confirmed or denied, which still, again, makes me angry, because since the first game came out, I've switched to PC gaming. But,
yeah. You own a PS4, so...
Yeah, I own a PS4, but... Again, the best
you prefer
version,
the PC.
Yeah, the best version would be the PC version.
Because if that game drops, I'm buying it for PS4 because I don't have a good computer to run it.
Right.
I mean, I could build my own computer in the next year, but I don't have a good computer to run it.
Again, another thing, they don't have any confirmed date. They just say Q2, so 2018. So
yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed again. This just happens with Rockstar games. They think they're like, okay, we're gonna make a massive open world game with 7 different characters all fighting for narrative supremacy, and then they realize, wait a minute, this is gonna take a lot longer than we thought, and everyone gets angry. And I'm like, I don't know what you're surprised about. This happened with Grand Theft Auto 5 3 times.
This is the thing I don't like is people get mad about delays.
Yeah.
When I hear a delay, I say, awesome.
Yeah, good.
Make the game better.
Take your time. I don't want a rushed, half-baked product. No Man's Sky. But
there are good games for me to play right now. I don't need your game right now.
Exactly.
This year alone was I think at some point I was like, can we get one more delay on some of these games so I don't have to play them all within the same 3 months?
Yeah. My backlog from last year is still massive. Come on, guys, give me a break, please.
Yeah, dude, there's a bunch of Vita games that I still have to play that I'm going to be playing when I'm out of the country for the next couple weeks.
Sorry, dude, can I just call to the fact that you just said the phrase, there are a bunch of Vita games that I need to play?
Hey,
this is a phrase you and 5 other people on this planet have said, dude.
Hey, I love my Vita.
Yeah.
I just bought a Vita portable charger yesterday.
Oh, you have a Gen 1 Vita, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't use a normal portable battery pack. Wow. Yeah, because I have a Gen 2 Vita, but I haven't been using it. The poor thing's been in a cupboard somewhere.
No, yeah. So I bought a portable Vita charger. I'm just gonna grab that and then just plug it in.
Right.
And just play my games. But yeah, my backlog is and I'm playing an MMO, man. That's one of those things where I'm sitting there just what am I doing? What am I doing with my gaming backlog?
See, the problem for me is that I'm talking about this now and I'm bitching that I have too much to play, but I do it to myself where I sit down during the day and I'm like, okay, I should really play some of these games that are in my backlog that I've spent money on and I need to play them. And I always end up just going back to Overwatch or Dark Souls, games I've already beaten, or they essentially have no end because they're a competitive game. So I guess I shouldn't complain too much because I do it to myself.
Yeah, no, I sit there and I'm like, man, I have a backlog of games, and then I just go up and I look at my let me look at my Steam library right now. I have that open.
Right.
I have a bunch of stuff on here that I know are good games that I just haven't played. I know Banner Saga is a good game.
Right.
I know Bastion and Transistor are good games.
I beat Bastion on my Vita.
Well, now I need to buy a Vita version.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do I own the Elder Scrolls on my computer?
Can you run it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just looking. I'm just like scrolling through this to see if there's anything I didn't like. No. Why do I own all the Max Payne games?
Did you buy them in a bundle or something on accident?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. But like, that's the thing is this backlog's never gonna go away.
Right.
And it's like there's a website I think called like backloggery.com or something. Where you like put down all the lists, all the games on your backlog, and that's a impossible website.
Right.
Like, if you go onto backloggery.com and start listing off your backlog, that list is only gonna grow. It's never gonna shrink.
But no, so can I bring up a news article?
Yeah, sure. Ooh, surprising me here.
It's not really a news article as much as it's a trend that I'm noticing. Because
Okay.
I want to relate this to what we were just talking about with backlogs.
Okay.
What I try to do is if I pick up a game, I try not to forget about it and put it aside, because then I forget about it and then I have to go back and I'm like, well, fuck, I don't remember what I was doing, especially if it was an RPG, so I just start over again. I don't like doing that. I like a game that really sinks its hooks into me and gets me to sit down and just beat it. The last game to do it before what I'm about to talk about was the 2016 Doom reboot.
Okay.
And that was amazing. I sat down for a week, blasted through that, had a great time. But the game that's doing that to me right now is Cuphead.
Yes.
It's just an astounding game. I can't stop thinking about it. I want to go back and play it. But the trend I'm noticing right now is there are a bunch of people writing articles talking about how it's too hard and how that is turning people off to the game. And I just want to comment, and maybe we could talk about difficulty in games.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about this, because I'm one of those people that just goes, stop whining, get good.
Yeah, exactly.
like
we were
I
talking
can
about
understand that little thing of like, oh, it's too hard, but it's just like, it's a video game. It's not it's not supposed to just give you an A+ and make you feel happy. You need to need to win it.
Yeah. Because like there are all these articles that all these gaming websites are writing where it's like, is exclusion, they call it exclusion, a bad design choice, which is you cut out a certain percentage of your player base based on the difficulty level. There are just some people that no matter what they do, even if they keep playing, they're not going to be able to beat the game. It's
Yes.
too difficult. And some people just need to realize that. But, people are always like, oh, I wish Dark Souls had, like, an easy mode. Or something like that. Which, again, yeah, just get good. But there are also other things that you just need to do a little research and figure out the game.
Yeah, you can't be like it's part of the thing about learning how to play the game.
Yeah.
Is that every game is different, and the difficulty, sometimes the game's not actually that difficult. It's the mechanics you have to learn and understand to be able to do it. For Cuphead, when you told me, oh, this game's difficult,
Yes.
all right, I went home, bought Cuphead, and started playing Cuphead. And I got through the first island with no trouble at all, except for the Frog Brothers.
Right. The slot machine.
The slot machine. The slot machine. And the only reason why I won that was an amazing RNG. Got 2 reds in a row. But the thing is that difficulty, like that game, for at least that first island, is not difficult at all. I learned how to, I went through the tutorial, I learned the mechanics, and then I just used those mechanics and I played through the game and had no trouble at all because I had a decent knowledge of, what to do. But I could see for other people why it could be difficult. Like I was watching a video last night of someone playing it, and I said, they're playing it completely wrong. And I know that sounds bad, but there are certain games that are difficult, that people say are difficult, but they just don't understand the mechanics to it.
Right.
So Dark Souls is one of those games of you just have to learn how to play the game within its system.
Exactly. Or, you want to know what Dark Souls easy mode is? It's called having friends.
Yes.
The game instantly becomes easier if you have at least one person with you.
Wasn't there a video that I showed you last year?
Yeah, it was Dark Souls easy mode. This guy just summoned in 3 people and went into the boss room and stood in a corner, and then they killed the boss for him. It's like, eh.
And that's the thing about those games is like, they aren't that hard. Well, okay. Let me retract that statement.
Okay.
They are hard games, but when you learn how to play them, they're not that bad.
No.
They're not gonna be easy, but they're a challenge.
Yeah.
And I think what that contributes to is the current mindset of video game players nowadays. Right. Is that a lot of games nowadays don't challenge you.
No.
Like, they don't challenge you, or, it's all about the story and stuff like that. There's no challenge in the game. And because there's no challenge in that game, when they play something else that actually has a challenge, they go, oh, it's too hard, and then drop it.
Exactly.
Like, throwing shade on the Assassin's Creed games, like, those games are easy. Those games are checking boxes and running around in town.
Exactly.
As the game holds your hand.
And then
the game constantly holds your hand.
And then when you get into combat, it's mash, counter, and then you do your little sword wiggles until all the men's on the screen get animationed to death.
Like, some of my favorite games don't hold your hand.
No.
I love character action games. Like, I've played all of them. Metal Gear Rising, Bayonetta. I've played all the Platinum backlog. Like,
right.
Those games don't hold your hand. I had a friend who played Bayonetta and dropped it because he got a stone trophy. And I was like, what were you expecting?
See, that's the other thing. So many people get caught up in the ranking system. They're like, oh, well, I guess I'm not playing well. But, you beat the level. That enough, I think, says something about your skill as a gamer. If you can beat the level itself without dying enough, I mean, hey, that's something.
Yeah. It's same thing with like fighting games. It's like those games are not games that you just press a button and win.
No.
Those games require skill, time, and effort to learn how to play those games. Stuff that I don't have.
Exactly. I mean, if you don't have the time to put in, don't get salty when you are losing to people that have spent 500 more hours than you playing the game. I mean, That's just to be expected. But
I think we've covered this. Yeah. This topic enough. Let's move on to our next story.
Which is?
Our next story is something that's old, but something that just got a recent update.
Ooh.
The Sonic live-action movie.
That's it.
Let me quote the article. Sonic the Hedgehog live-action movie speeds until development.
Holy shit. So it's not that fan movie that came out with Doug Walker in it?
No.
Okay, this is an actual thing.
An actual film by Paramount Films.
Oh God, no!
With let me tell you.
It's on the Hollywood Reporter. It's real.
Let me tell you about this. The director is the director of the Fast and the Furious movies, and the producer was, I think, either the director or producer from Deadpool.
Well, where do I pre-order my ticket, Dato?
Yeah, the producer is okay. I think I got that wrong. The live-action movie with Fast and Furious producer Neil H. Mortz,
just producer,
and Deadpool director Tim Miller producing, and Miller's frequent Miller Studio collaborating with Jeff Fowler, helming the video game adaptation in his directorial debut.
Okay. That actually might not be good.
So the producers are from Deadpool and Fast and the Furious, right. And the director is a new guy.
Ooh, no.
And it's by Paramount Pictures, and it's said to be a half CG, half live action movie.
You know what that makes me think of? Fucking Sonic 06.
Why Sonic 06?
Because there's all those segments where the princess, who looks hyper realistic and it's kind of unsettling, is standing next to this cartoon ass hedgehog. So that makes me think that they're just gonna fucking rip the 3D model of Sonic out of like Sonic forces or whatever and plop them in a movie.
Hey, did you know that Sonics and humans can have baby? Sonic Forces proves that.
Please stop. We're not. No, I don't want to have all the Rule 34 be tweeted at me or whatever.
So let me just tell you this. I learned this a little bit ago, but there's a character named Silver in Sonic Forces, and Silver comes from the future, and he's he's a hedgehog with telekinetic powers.
Yeah, I knew that. He's from Sonic 06.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said Sonic Forces.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm so wrong then.
No, you're fine.
I think he might be in Sonic Forces. I could be wrong. I might have heard wrong.
He probably is. He's the only thing from Sonic 06 I think that they're proud enough to be like, okay, that was actually a good idea.
But that's all I wanted to touch on. That's all this conversation needed to be.
He's from the future, and he has green psychic powers.
Sonic movie is, speeding into development.
I want to see this screenplay, man. I have to see this screenplay. Is it going to be based on the games? Is it going to be based on the Archie comics?
Oh my god. Is it going to be based on Sonic Boom?
No, God, I hope not.
Dude, Sonic Boom, the cartoon's great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I can't say I've watched it because I don't like Sonic. Oh, did I say that out
loud?
Dude,
watch the Sonic Boom cartoon. It's the most meta, self-referential thing ever. I'll just look up funny clips from Sonic Boom.
Right.
The TV show, because you'll sit there and just go oh, they're just making fun of themselves. It's great. Let's move on.
Okay, yeah, please. This is frying my brain. 2019. Oh God.
Okay. These three, I don't know how much you'll care about them, but I just decided to bring them up. Neo PC release.
That I am actually very excited for. It's been on my wish list for PS4. I haven't bought it yet.
I have a copy of it lying around somewhere. I don't like it that much. So.
Really? You don't like it? I know it's one of those Souls-esque games.
I played a lot of it.
Right.
And I'm not gonna don't get me wrong, there was really good moments from it. Mm-hmm. There was a samurai boss that I sat down and spent ungodly amounts of hours fighting the samurai boss. And when I beat it, I felt more satisfaction than I felt in any video game that I played up to that point.
Well, is it notoriously challenging, or is it?
It's really hard.
Okay.
I do have to say it is really hard. I remember back when that beta was being released, and people were, they're releasing betas and asking for feedback, and a lot of people were saying this game's very hard. My only issue with the game is I didn't find it as interesting as I wanted it to be.
Okay.
There was a lot of reuse of levels and assets.
Okay.
Well, the thing is every level, every stage has at least five things to it. Mm-hmm. So I burned myself super hard on that game by playing each level 5 times and then moving on to the next level and playing that 5 times and moving on to you burn yourself out really fast.
Okay. It's level based, right? It's not open world.
It's level based, but it's really hard because what happens is you just get really burnt out from playing it.
Okay. I guess I could see that.
Props on whoever's enjoying that game, because apparently the DLC for that game is dope.
Oh. And
there's a bunch of DLC for it.
The edition that's coming out for PC is going to be the complete edition, right? Where it comes with DLC and everything?
I think so. I didn't do a lot of research on this one. I just saw that it was being released on PC. Open up all your tweets of everyone saying that Neo would never be released on PC.
I can see it.
So you're getting this game when it comes out, probably?
I think so, because I've heard a lot of stuff about, it's Souls-like, but with intense weapons mechanics. Because
the weapon mechanics is fantastic. How Bloodborne has 5 weapons that they just really focused on?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Neo.
Okay, because I know that I've heard there are spears, bows, swords, kind of like a Dark Souls.
Okay, so the way that it works is that
it's
there's 5 weapon
stances,
types,
right?
So there's 5 different weapon types. There's single katana, double katana, sickle, chain and sickle,
Right.
and spear. And there could be a fifth one, or I could just be imagining that. I never used it if there was. And then each weapon has 3 stances, a high, medium, and low stance. And a lot of things you can do have to deal with changing stances and stuff like that.
Okay.
So there's some upgrades where if you do a full combo in high stance and then switch to low stance at a certain point, you get all your stamina back.
Interesting.
So the thing is, the stamina management is a lot better than like in Souls game.
Okay.
Because they have like a quick reload function for like stamina, where as you use your stamina, you have gray stamina and black stamina, and the black stamina gets used up, and then the gray stamina goes small and smaller, and then if you hit a button at the right time, you get some of that stamina back, and you can continue attacking.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more interesting things going on with it. I just think the levels were a little bit too bland, and I couldn't keep playing.
Well, because it's just like stereotypical Japanese.
No, I think the levels were the levels were interesting. It was that there was very few like there was very few maps. I feel like what I got to, and I granted when it came out, it was during the months of dreams, I would call it. So I think I dropped Neo for Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah. Still calling it Game of the Year. I think it's gonna win Game of the Year.
I think it's gonna win Game of the Year, but my personal is Nier Automata. So
yeah, too niche.
It's too niche, but it's getting a lot of press towards it. So at least it'll be on some people's lists. Yeah. But moving on from Neo. Again, this is not something that you probably care too much about, but I just wanted to bring up because I thought it was kind of funny. PUBG is getting negative backlash from China.
Why specifically China?
Because apparently in the Chinese version of the games, they are getting ads in PUBG.
Hold on.
There are... Let me pull this article up. I have it actually open here. I'll link
Chinese
it to you.
in-game ads. I want to...
There you go.
10,000 negative reviews. Ooh, stream bombs. Or Steam bombs. That's another thing to talk about too. That's been of
yeah,
high volume of negative reviews. Holy fuck. 10,000 in one day.
In one day. Because an in-game third-party VPN gaming advertising in China. And just in China.
Yeah, because I don't think I've heard anything about advertisements being in the American version.
Yeah.
Or the European version.
And the backlash is because like the Chinese servers are terrible.
Right.
And they're getting ads. So this brings up a good topic of just like ads in video games, I guess.
Yeah, because ads in video games are fascinating, especially when you consider actual advertisement video games, like Sneak King or Pepsi Man.
Okay, Sneak King is a masterpiece beyond its time.
As is Pepsi Man. But
don't forget the Sneak King go-kart game.
Oh, yes. But like my favorite game, one of my favorite games that a lot of people like to shit on is Crackdown, the original Crackdown on Xbox 360.
Yeah, the only reason why people bought that was for Halo.
Exactly, for the Halo 3 beta. But I actually loved it for Crackdown. But besides that, if you play that game today, there is an ad from like 2010 for a Dodge something or other car, and it hasn't been updated. Yeah, so when you're running around the city, there's still ads for this one Dodge car. When did Crackdown come out?
That was Halo 3. That's back when we were still in middle school.
Yeah, that's
man.
like 2000. Yeah, so 2007. So there's an ad for like a 2007, 2008 like Dodge Grand Caravan or something, and you play the game still, and it's still there. It's like a little advertisement for something you can't buy anymore.
But it's just so interesting. Of like, PUBG is a paid game. These people,
Right.
It's not a free to play game.
Right. Well,
it's a paid game. These people paid $30 correlating to, how much inflation and, change in money in China there is.
Yuans. I don't know how much a yuan is.
Yeah, me either. I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna even attempt. At least with yen, I could at least try, but not with that. But like, this is a paid game, and they're getting ads in their paid game,
Right? And again, the servers are still garbage.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't think ads should be acceptable in games that you're at least paying for, like free to play games. I understand that. You got to make your money somehow.
Of course.
Like when you're playing a mobile app, you need you got to have those ads if it's going to be a free game. But for a paid game, I don't know about that.
That's a little inexcusable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like when this whole Creation Club outrage with Bethesda. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's even more egregious because it's not just advertisements, it's unknown compatibility third-party mods that you're spending money on. That is just egregious for a game that has been re-released time memoriam. Ugh. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't want to get into this. That makes me angry.
Yeah, no, it's weird because I'm thinking of the acceptable ads in games, and I feel like that Dodge Challenger. I don't think that's obtrusive, is it? Is it?
No, because you kind of don't even really notice. It's so bizarre.
It's subliminal messaging.
Yeah, it's just like in on billboards in the background, only occasionally too. So you'll just be running around and then you'll look and you're like, oh, 2008 Dodge Grand Caravan, okay, and then you keep running.
I wish there was some subliminal, I wish there was some study where some guy who played Crackdown bought a Dodge Challenger
or whatever. Yeah, and they're like, oh, it worked.
like one day someone's playing Crackdown and they just go, I should really buy a Dodge Challenger. Did you hear about the newest thing with Sonic Forces?
No. Oh, God.
This is going back to the Sonic conversation a little bit. But the newest thing is Sonic Forces, or Sonic Team, is partnering up with Japanese Hooters.
Okay. Yeah, okay. See, that's just a cross-promotion.
That's a cross-promotion.
Wait. Is it also going to be in the game, or are they only doing it at the Hooters locations? Is there going to be Sonic?
There might be a
Hooters
character,
stuff?
maybe? There might be a Hooters character in Sonic Forces.
No. They know what they're doing. Oh, God. It's literally just the OC Do Not Steal porno game.
But that, for some reason, I'm okay with that advertising.
Oh, my God. Custom Heroes. Yeah, Custom Heroes. Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, PUBG is a game that blew up too fast.
Yeah.
In my opinion. From what I've seen, it still needs a lot of work, and their servers still need a lot of work. And I don't think they should be adding ads to their game. And
yeah, at least not now. It's not even in full release yet, is it? Is it still?
Yeah, it's still in early access.
It's still in early access beta or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wait, let me look this up.
Which one? The
PUBG.
PUBG?
Yeah.
I sent it on Discord.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I haven't been paying attention then. I think I turned off the Discord noises. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Well, see, that's the ads I'm talking about. If I look it up on Steam, if it tells me if it's...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look it up on Steam instead. Let me see that, too.
Mixed. Yeah, well, it has bad reviews because China. Yeah, it still says it's early access. Okay, so they're putting ads in an early access game. Come on, guys. Or, come on, guy. Player unknown. Mr. I make mods for the one same game and then release it as a separate game. So, how long...
Hey, man. He's making money.
Oh, yeah, no, without a doubt he's making money. He's a fucking millionaire. But what I want to ask you about this, do you think this game has staying power? Or do you think it's a fad? Like the stream of the month game, you know?
That's a good question. I think, in my opinion, I think it's only till someone creates a better PUBG.
But do you think it's going to be killed by another PUBG?
I I feel that it is because right now hero shooters was the big thing.
Right. Overwatch,
And now that's
Lawbreakers,
oversaturated.
Battleborn, yada yada
Yeah.
yada.
And now we're moving to the new hot thing, which is Battle Royale.
Right. H1Z1
And
did it.
PUBG and Fortnite.
Fortnite. I feel like there's another one too.
Minecraft.
Oh. Minecraft is the OG. But what was I thinking? No, there's another game that just got announced at like they did this whole thing at the Xbox E3 event.
Mm-hmm.
Where they had like a guy come on stage and he was like screaming like play by play, and they're like, oh, and they were saying like the gamer.
That's a hero shooter. That's also a
was
hero
that a hero shooter?
though.
I thought that was another
hero
Battle
shooter.
Royale game.
No, when that Screamcaster went online and started,
He was like, oh, look like he's going for a great kill there. He takes the round. Oh my god. Yeah.
I think that's also a hero shooter.
Yeah. Well, see, that's another thing. Just kind of going back to that, just oversaturated market. I think everyone has realized, especially after the MOBA craze, which I'm glad that's dying down finally. I think Paragon was the last game that really came out, and people realized, oh wait, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, because it was MOBA, then hero shooter, and now
it's Battle Royale games. And before that, it was survival crafting games, because Minecraft.
Oh my god, the oversaturation of those ones were insane.
But what everyone's doing, and again, it started with MOBAs, is they're like, okay, can we make this an esport? They're like, how do we make this an esport? How do we get a bunch of Asian kids to sit down in a giant theater to play a video game?
Because it started with StarCraft. That started with StarCraft.
I want to say it was more like Street Fighter was where that really blew up. But yeah, StarCraft is also very big. When did esports really?
The FGC and esports are two separate beasts that you would have to tackle alone.
Right.
They're two separate things that if you have to look at the craze on that one. Just because
well, actually,
it's mainly the StarCraft. Yeah. It started with StarCraft. Because I guess for the FGC and me, it's like they don't really try to go with the whole esports thing.
Right.
They're trying now, but it used to not be esports.
But yeah, so like that's like all these games coming out. Like you saw that Kroby Cat video about Lawbreakers. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just,
of course.
Just Cliffy B constantly is like, we're gonna make this an esport. He's like, we're gonna get that hook, so we have a bunch of people playing it. They did the same thing with Rainbow Six Vegas. They did the same thing with Overwatch. It's just like it's this push to be like, okay, we'll make this competitive. That's the easiest way to ensure our game has staying power. Is that we get
even in the FGC, that's what they're doing right now. Is with Marvel and with Street Fighters, like the competitive scene is the one that's keeping it alive.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people are saying is like, oh, it's the multiplayer thing. Oh, let's get the multiplayer thing out. Like, even before MOBAs was Call of Duty, first-person shooters.
Yeah, first-person shooter, esports. That's where you get FaZe Clan.
But it just goes in waves, man.
Yeah.
So I think that PUBG will eventually die down.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like
it might not be for
DayZ.
another couple. Yeah, it won't be probably for another couple months. But I don't think it has staying power, especially with the way that the game is being produced right now.
Right.
Unless they do some massive updates where, they fix their servers, they add some more variation, they make it a little bit, less of a walking simulator. It's just a matter of time until another PUBG comes up.
Yep.
My hope is Fortnite, but that's just me.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see.
Although I just literally saw an article get posted that Fortnite is celebrating 7 million active players because of the Battle Royale thing that got launched. I think, though, the big thing here is that it's free. That's the huge pull.
It's free.
Yeah.
It's totally,
And also, it came to consoles before PUBG has.
That's a thing. That's a topic I want to discuss right now. Do you think that free-to-play can push more units?
Well, see, you say units, but...
Like, in this world of DLC,
Yeah.
in this world that we're living of DLC,
Microtransactions.
and microtransactions and everything, if Splatoon came out and was free to play, but like, had like a bunch of microtransactions and DLC to it, do you think it would do better or maybe worse? Or
Because
even like a fighting game.
Because that initial barrier to entry is gone, which is money. But then there's that skill cap you get, because people can pay to win sometimes if it's done poorly, implemented wrong.
Yeah.
That's why I think Splatoon had the right idea to make the game paid and then free updates.
Yeah. So
Same with
it's
Overwatch,
just a matter,
in my opinion.
it's just a matter of time of figuring out which is better.
Yeah.
Paid and free updates or free to play and paid updates.
Right. I still like the idea that, again, Overwatch is doing this too. It's even TF2 did this for a while. It's changed now, but free. TF2 has become free to play, but then they really doubled down hard on cosmetics. Yeah. Same thing with CS:GO. It goes on sale all the time. $3, $5. That's nothing. You can get CS:GO. You can run CS:GO on a toaster. And Valve has doubled down.
But that's a dead game. It's a dead game.
CS:GO? Are you kidding?
The only reason why CS:GO is still like big is because of the competitive scene.
Exactly. Which if PUBG can't make that push for competitive, which I know they're trying to, esport.
I think no, but PUBG is doing something better, where it's the streamers that are keeping PUBG alive.
That too.
Because I don't like for PUBG. For PUBG, it's less about esport and it's a lot more about streamers.
Right. Like if I go to Twitch right now, I'm going to see what the top games are. It's probably going to be PUBG, Cuphead.
It's PUBG. No, it's PUBG, League of Legends, Dota.
It's always Hearthstone. Okay, so actually,
Hearthstone.
It goes League of Legends, PUBG, Hearthstone, Battlefront 2, which the beta is out right now, so that's why a lot of people are playing it.
Oh yeah, because Shroud's not playing PUBG right now. Never mind. That's why.
Fortnite, FIFA, CS:GO, Dota 2, Overwatch, people doing like talk shows and stuff, IRL, and then Cuphead, World of Warcraft, Rainbow Six, Minecraft, and then I'll stop there.
Okay.
Because that's when we start getting, older games that have a lot of staying power. Destiny. Yeah.
I'm just looking at the browser right now. Yeah, because I know there must be a tournament going on for League of Legends right now.
Let's go to the front page of Twitch and see what people are playing.
I'm just looking because Shroud's playing PUBG. Let's see, and League of Legends.
No, there's no tournament. It's just people playing.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
What can I say?
Yeah, you're right.
It's free, baby.
Because PUBG has been in the number one spot for a while,
right.
But I only contribute that to streamers. Streamers that pull in 30K, viewers.
Exactly.
And some of those. Let me take a look at the PUBG streamers.
Shroud is playing PUBG.
Yeah, no, that's the guy I watched. Yeah. But Summit, Doc, and some other guys aren't playing, so that's why it's low numbers right now.
Let's go. Like I guarantee if I'm gonna go to the Steam current player. Yeah. Okay, you want to hear something crazy to me? This is something that I've never seen. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds peaked at 1.5 million players today on Steam.
Yep. That's about right.
Dota 2, which is the second biggest one, only made it to barely over 500,000. There's almost 3 times more people playing PlayerUnknown than any other game.
That game is blown up too big because their servers are terrible.
Yeah.
All right, enough about PUBG. We've talked about that enough. But our last story is talking about Splatoon. Going back onto that.
Okay. I know next to.
Are you a fan?
I know next
Are you a
to
fan of
nothing
Splatoon?
about Splatoon.
Okay, you know next to nothing about Splatoon. Yeah. So this news article is going to mean nothing to you. But do you know what Splatfests are?
Yes. I've seen the memes.
Have you seen the recent Splatfest?
Yes. Which is the toilet paper one, right?
Yeah, we're talking about front roll or back roll.
Okay. Do you want to have this?
So let's have this debate here right now.
Okay.
Is it the front roll or the back roll?
Front roll. It's always front roll.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. It's always
If you look at the original, someone tried to patent the toilet paper holder back in the day.
Uh-huh.
And if you look at the drawing of it, guess what? The paper is going on the front. And also, have you seen that All Might meme?
Yeah. Don't do this. Do that. That's what villains
only
do.
villains do it this way. Which, come on. If Backroll wins, I'm going to be very surprised.
I think Marina is on Backroll. I think that it might win just because the fact that it's Marina on Backroll.
I want to see the Squid Girl.
Wait, is it? Wait, it's Pearl and Marina. Yeah. So it's Marina. Yeah, but that was just what I wanted to bring up because that's a great Splatfest. That's honestly a great Splatfest.
I was surprised that the one that was a while ago was ketchup versus mayo, and mayo won, which I guess I would equate that to mayo being bigger in Japan.
Yeah. So for this podcast, we like to do one big topic, one main course. I like to say. We talk about those other topics for like 10, 20 minutes, but this big topic is the big topic that we will talk about for a bit. Our main event. And
the main course.
Our main course, yes. Our main event this week is a little show that came out on Netflix that we've been wanting to talk about for a very long time. A show by our good friend, Jaden Smith. Okay. We're not actually friends with him, but...
Friend of the show. Jaden Smith.
I present to you our topic of Neo Yokio.
Oh my god. I love it. I love it so much.
So let's get this out of the way first before we start delving deep into the show. What did you think? What is your initial thought? What's your overall thoughts? What's the summary of your thoughts?
My summary of thoughts. Okay. Poorly executed. But it grew on me. That is the gist of what I would say. It was dumb, but I enjoyed it. Because, kind of just like elaborating on that, I guess, the way I've talked to you about this before, is just, I love schlock, bad movies. I love bad movies and bad TV and stuff like that. The Room, Birdemic, just stuff like that. Neo Yokio is one of those things where to really get something that's so bad it's good, you have to see the passion. And Neo Yokio...
There's so much passion behind it.
Full of passion. But it's just so misdirected.
So, talking about my own thoughts, I love this. This show is great. It's the best, I would say it's the best 6 out of 10 that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, which, ironic that you say that because it has a 6 out of 10 on IMDb. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, it's the best 6 out of 10. Like, personally, I think this is fantastic. Technically, this deserves a really low score. But you know what? You could feel that passion.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to convince my friend to watch it, our mutual friend Jay, and he refuses, even though I keep saying it's a decent show.
I've been trying to also get Mitch to watch it, but he refuses as well because it's a hard sell when I say it's very stupid and it has moments where you can see the holes in the production. But I'm just
you can see those holes.
It's so it's so bizarre and fascinating to me that I can't stop watching.
Like, there's so many moments that you just go, this was made, this is fantastic. And all I could think about is, I know they're not going to get it, but I want a season 2.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay. So,
I've never wanted a season 2 of something as bad as I want a season 2 of this.
a season 2 of something I would argue doesn't deserve a season 2. But I can only hope that it gets a season 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And this show is actually legitimately a decent show.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the first episode and the trailer do not do this show justice at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. you get past that first episode. You texted me going like, this first episode's terrible. And I texted you back saying, that's the worst episode of the entire series.
Exactly.
Like, you go into that second episode, and you're like, this is remarkable.
Well, what sold me was, like, the final connecting arc between the last 2 episodes with the race.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah!
That sold me. I was like, oh, wait, this actually has the workings of a good show. It's just, it's so, like I said, misdirected. Is how I would describe it.
And here's the thing. As you called me earlier, I'm a corporal of the anime community. Like, I have some anime behind my belt. I've seen a lot. I have a huge My Anime list of too many hours that I've spent watching anime. I know my anime. And a lot of people from the anime community was lambasting this. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. This is better than a lot of the stuff I've seen in anime. Like, I've seen a lot of anime. Trust me. There's a moment in my life where I said, I'm just going to watch everything that comes out on a weekly basis. And I watched like 20 shows. And I'm going to tell you, like, most of those shows that I watched that season were probably not as good as this show. Because anime, there's like a corporation behind it. There's like, you could tell that someone is pushing for these animes to be made.
Right.
And there's no soul behind it. Like, you see animes like, you know, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and like My Hero Academia, and the team behind it are passionate about the work they're doing. They love the work they're doing.
Right.
But then you see other shows that are like Battle Like Harem Romances that come out of a dime a dozen. And Jay, our friend Jay, disagrees with me on this. And I told him Neo Yokio is better than any of those Battle Like Harem Romances. And he vehemently, like, is disagreeing with me. And the thing is that this show has more soul, has more themes, has more going on, and has more passion behind it than any of those corporate shows that I've put out in anime.
Well, immediately what I want to mention, you bring up the passion, it's because you can tell that it is, we argue, or you keep joking that Jaden Smith is like the brainchild behind this, but if you look at it...
No, it's Urza Cohen.
Exactly. Jaden Smith is just the voice actor of the main character. He has nothing else to do with the production. It's all, it's Ezra Koenig.
Ezra, yeah.
Who,
Ezra
if you don't know what that name is, he's the lead singer and band leader of Vampire Weekend.
Which is a great band.
Yeah.
I love that band.
He's just such a strange guy. And you could really see that. You could see that come through in this show. You could tell that
the thing is,
you could tell he's an American fan of Japanese animation, and that's why he wanted to make this. He got 2 legitimate Japanese anime studios to make this for him.
Production IG, which did shows like Ghost in the Shell, and Studio Dean that did stuff like Konosuba and a lot of great shows that came out, like a lot of good shows that came out in the past 2 years.
Yeah. And could I just give you a little background? I was reading up on this. This is on the Wikipedia page for the show. But I guess this show was actually announced in 2015. And it was originally supposed to be released on Fox with Animation Domination, which, if you don't know what that is, that's where Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, and American Dad all are.
Yeah, I know that is.
So they realized, wait a minute, this doesn't really fit, and so they put it on FXX. But then that also got canceled on FXX. So then Netflix bought it in late 2016, and they announced that they were going to put it on Netflix.
Okay.
So it's not technically a Netflix original series because Netflix really didn't have any production to do with it. The show was already made. They just bought the rights. So that makes me hopeful that if they do a second season, it will look better than this season did. Because my main complaint that I keep having with the show is sound design, which that
we're gonna break this down in parts, but yeah.
My 3 biggest issues are sound design, animation quality, and the voice acting. And all of it comes at inconsistency. It's problems with inconsistency. Because
it's one of the most inconsistent shows I've ever seen.
Because they have moments where all 3 of those things are fantastic. at different
Anytime
times.
he does a Kamehameha.
Yeah, anytime it's an action sequence, fantastic animation, fantastic sound design. And whenever you see the star-studded cast actually talking, if you get rid of Jaden Smith and some of the other people, there are actual standout voice actors, or, just legitimate actors, that do give very, very good performances in this show. And I don't get it. It makes me think they blew all their money on weird stuff. I don't know.
So Production IG is a production company.
Okay.
They don't really create anime, but they've done stuff like Ghost in the Shell and Psycho Pass. But they're the production company behind like a lot of different things that you might be familiar with.
Yeah.
Like Attack on Titan. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking at Parappa the Rappa, FLCL. Like a lot of these things I'm looking at, I'm like, they did production behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree with you. It all has to do with inconsistency of this. Of that first episode alone is inconsistent with the rest of the show.
Exactly.
Like, it's so weird where, like, the rest of the show is, like, decent. I mean, I can't say good. It's decent.
It picks up. It really picks up.
It picks up. So, the way we're going to go to do this is let's talk first about all the technical stuff.
Okay.
About this. Let's talk about all the technical aspects of all of the show. So let's go back to voice acting.
Yes.
The voice acting, I agree with you, is hit or miss. There are some that are great, some that are bad. But I want to point out something about it. After watching a couple episodes, I said, none of these voice actors actually match what their characters are.
That too. It doesn't make any sense.
And I have this feeling where they're just like, he watched Ghost Stories and wanted to do that.
Because they paid someone to draw all the characters, and then they showed them to them, and they're like, okay. The voice actors just did whatever they wanted.
Like, the voice acting and the character designers were in two separate rooms, and they did not talk to each other.
Two different countries.
Yes. I'm going to bring this back a little bit to a video game. My favorite is Yoko Taro. He does something very similar to this, but on a different basis.
Okay.
Where Yoko Taro, he tells his art designer, this is what I want this character to look like. He tells them, all the tropes that this character will look like. And then he tells the voice actor the totally opposite. And what happens is that it creates a misunderstanding where you see a character and you go, this character should not, like, this character will act like this, and then you get a totally different character. And I feel like he was trying to do that with this, but on the voice acting level, but kind of didn't succeed. But at the same time, succeeded because I was really into the voice acting.
Right.
The opera singer who comes from the West.
You mean the South?
The South, I mean, the South.
What's
from the South.
Sailor Pellegrino.
Has a Southern accent. And you look at that character and you go, this character should not have a Southern accent. And I think that's genius.
Also, so I did some research on the actresses, like the people behind them. She is African American, the voice actress that plays Sailor Peregrino.
Wow,
right? It does not fit at all. It's just bizarre. And his ex-girlfriend Kathy, her voice does not match her body at all. Like that real raspy British voice, but she's supposed to be
the
from
only
the
person
States.
whose voice the only voice that matches is Kaz.
I could see, Kaz,
It's Kaz and his friends. Those are the only voices that match.
Also, the shop owner.
The shop owner.
The guy who's like, I just love sports. He's actually, his name is Richard I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to even try. But he was on like the IT Crowd and stuff like that. Have you ever watched the IT Crowd?
Oh, that guy.
Yeah,
that guy.
he's the black guy with the afro that kind of goes all different directions.
Yeah, I literally am looking at my notes that I wrote when I watched it.
Yeah.
And my first note is terrible voice acting and terrible script. And subs over dubs. I think I remember I made a joke where I said to a couple of my friends when I was watching this, this is why subs are better than dubs.
But was it recorded in English first, or was it recorded in?
No.
Okay.
It was a complete joke.
Yeah.
It's not even. It doesn't even have a Japanese dub. But like, it was just a joke of like, this is why subs are better than dubs. And then the next line is why the fuck does she have a southern accent?
I don't get it. She comes out of nowhere.
Oh my god. But then you have Steve Buscemi, who's perfect.
He knocks it out of the park, which something I want to talk about, how misleading it is that they act like he is a major character, which he kind of is, narrative-wise, impact.
Yes.
He's very valuable. But he's only in 2 episodes. And the trailers make it seem like he's a recurring character in the entire series, which he is not.
But he is not. So let's move on to animation on here.
Oh my god.
From the voice acting. The animation, I think the backgrounds are nice.
Again, bringing it back to it's hit and miss. I was telling you,
backgrounds are occasionally nice.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, there was this one establishing shot in the
mall.
Yeah, in the first or second episode, he goes to the mall, and it cuts to the outside of the mall, and I no joke, I wasn't trying to be funny because I was watching it by myself at night. I kind of went like, ugh, and I leaned back. I was like, that does not look good. It looks really bad. Like, it's really blurry. The characters that are walking around, very minimal, stiff animation. They don't look like filled in.
There was a shot of a building on the outside with characters walking around, and the characters look like terrible like cutouts from Archer.
Yeah, like they got ripped out of like a different animated series and plopped there. Like they stole assets from another show because they ran out of money. But like,
yeah, that's exactly how it feels like.
Characters will be talking, and like you were saying, the voice acting doesn't match up with the animation. Like someone will be like really excited, like the actor will be really excited, but it'll just be stiff lip flaps, just kind of going. They're standing there, only lip flaps. Occasionally they'll move their hand or something.
Yeah.
The opposite sometimes happens. The voice doesn't match the like really excited like animation of the character, but like the delivery of the character is really boring and dull and lackadaisical. It's just so bizarre.
The everything from a technical basis of the show is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, but then, I guess, now that we've done talking about so much of the technicalities of it, we need to start just talking about the script point by point. So we could both agree that first episode's terrible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we'll continuously harp on that. First episode is terrible. It's what I feel like is what people thought the show was.
Right. It's everyone. It's the most. Okay. You know how I would phrase this to anyone that wants to watch the show? It's the most Jaden Smith out of any of the episodes.
Yes, I feel like Jaden Smith got to write one episode, and it was the first one.
Yeah. It's essentially, it's every time Jaden Smith's character Kaz Khan talks, it's just shitty poetry. And
it's like terrible poetry. It's something straight out of his Twitter.
Yeah, he's like you know, like he's gesticulating about how he's such a tortured soul because his girlfriend broke up with him, and how he's so melancholic.
I'm mourning the death of a relationship.
Yes. And one moment that did make me, it legitimately made me laugh was he's talking to his robot butler, played by Jude Law, which again, Jude Law knocks it out of the park, fantastic actor. Again, he must be going through a rough patch in his career if he is attached to this thing. Anyway.
See, you can understand Steve Buscemi, because Steve Buscemi's not doing anything with his time. He's living off the riches.
Exactly.
But
he's
they're
fine.
Just probably like, hey, Steve Buscemi, we'll give you like $20. Can you just come in?
He has his Coen Brothers money. He's fine. But so Jaden Smith's character Kaz Khan is talking, and like randomly he's like, I want to see the grave, Charles. And Jude Law,
my God.
He plays a flying robot butler named Charles, and he flies him to the grave. And
okay, so what did you, when this scene was building up, what did you think it was going to be?
I thought it was going to be his parents. Because you never
Okay.
see his parents. We only meet his aunt, who, again, voiced by Susan Sarandon. She also knocks it out of the park. I wish she was in the show more, honestly.
Okay, because here's the thing, Brad. I was talking to my buddies while I was watching this, and I said, that grave is going to be a gravestone to his relationship.
I also could have thought it could have been that, too.
And then he goes and he made a tombstone for himself.
So it has his birthday, and then a dash to the day that he hasn't died yet. And he goes to his grave, and he sits in front of it, and he's like, I'm just going to take a quick rest, Charles. And he lays down on his grave, pretending to be dead. And that legitimately was funny to me. I was like, only this fucking kid would make his gravestone ahead of time so he can mourn his own life.
And the thing is that this is the reason why I think that Jaden Smith had some hand in the first episode, or at least the writer of the first episode is completely different from 2 to 6. Mm-hmm. Because every line that comes out of Jaden Smith's mouth is some sort of thing that you can find on his Twitter or some sort of advertising.
Yes.
Like Coco Chanel, like, oh, look at this, you should try out this sort of perfume, a cologne, stuff like that. Everything is about that. But then that almost disappears the minute you get to the next episode.
But Toblerone, though.
The Toblerone is great. The Toblerone is the best waifu.
Big Toblerone, best waifu.
But from a plot standpoint, the first episode is very nothing, and it's just it makes people not want to go to the next episode.
Yeah.
And then you get to the second episode, and we're moving on. The second episode is just so great. It's of just like, you just watch this and it's like, everything that I thought this show was is not here.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the bad voice acting and all of the production still there, but like you start to see the glimpses of what his message was, of what he's trying to get at, and you get the parts where like the southern accent of the opera singer.
Yeah.
You have it where he takes the tuxedo out and he wears the tuxedo and they're like, hey, the ball's not till the end of the week. He's like, I gotta let it breathe and live. And then the entire plot point of that episode is not that there's a demon trying to steal the skull. It's that he's wearing a midnight blue suit.
And midnight blue is too daring. He needed a black suit because it's a black tie event.
Exactly. And the fact that that's the main plot line of that episode is genius. Like, I think one of my favorite lines from that episode, though, was, like, let's talk about his rival. His rival is fantastic.
And again, voiced by Jason Schwartzman. Again, knocks it out of the park. And I think that is the end of where the good voice actors are. There are 4 to 5, because Jaden Smith, he grows on you as the series goes on. In a way, he kind of grows.
But it doesn't mean he's a good
No, it doesn't mean he's a good voice actor, but he kind of grows into the character. Like, I feel like...
Yes.
I don't know if I just got disillusioned and my brain turned off because I was like, this is so dumb. But, like, I started to be like, actually, I don't mind Jaden Smith's delivery.
Yes.
So, I'll say there's 4.5 good voice actors in this series.
Yeah, Jason Schwartzman as the rival is great.
What's his name? Archangelo.
Archangelo, because this is how I think that the first episode shouldn't have existed.
Okay.
Because the minute that Archangelo comes back in, it does the card as if he's being introduced for the first time, like he was in the first episode. And when that happened, I wished that the rest of the show had it every time he showed up in a scene.
Right, again,
it was just
inconsistency. It says his name and
It's
then and then the crew or whatever the hell it was underneath it. Him and his posse.
Like, every line that came out of his mouth was fantastic. And we'll talk about more when we talk about episode 6, but like the lines of he's like, "All right, boys, let's go run around the dam." Peace. Or when he's sitting, like, my favorite moment in that entire show is when they're trying on suits.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Archangelo, do you live here or something?" And he just goes, "I wish I did."
Again,
and then
there's subtle brilliance in there that I wish the whole show was like that, but it tries to take itself too seriously, I think.
Well, I feel like it starts taking itself too serious, but then at the same time it doesn't.
Yeah, it starts like I said,
it's
as it goes on, it kind of grows on you and it becomes more aloof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that fact that it's just like his rival is just great. And then you get introduced to the Toblerone, which is the greatest running joke in that show.
Almost becomes a character in itself.
Yeah. Like like in the like I can't remember what it's probably the next episode or the episode after that where she's like, I saved you because I had a dream of the Toblerone being strangled and the Toblerone is you.
You were the big Toblerone.
And then what was okay? I have to open up Netflix because I'm trying to get this episode by episode to get all the finer details out. Like, and again, the animation gets really good when he's having the fight scene with the skull.
But yeah, wait, okay. Did the demons stop after the third episode? I think the demons just stopped after the third episode. There are no more demons after the third episode.
Oh my god, you might be right.
Because the way they frame it, you think it's just going to be a Monster of the Week kind of thing, where Jaden Smith is trying to live his posh, bougie lifestyle, and then his aunt is like, hey, get in the car, dipshit. And he's like, I don't want to.
And he's like, I don't want to. I want to go do this other thing.
I want to go be a bougie rich boy. But he can't because he has to fight demons. But that stops.
Yeah, no, because the third episode, going into the third episode, is the episode with the Hellenists, which is great, which is such a great episode.
They're so obsessed with Helen, or what's her name?
Yeah, Helen.
Yeah, Helena Saint Tessero. God, these names.
Yeah, they're so obsessed with her that they want to get possessed by a demon.
Yeah.
And that's where you start to see what he's trying to do with the series.
Right.
Is that this show is about Kaz's journey to learn how being rich and famous is not what's fulfilling in life. That's not what life is all about. And it's him starting to change from being really vain to not being vain and seeing the bigger world as it is.
Well, the thing that gets me about this show is it's a Marxist critique of capitalist society. It's the very basic, like, consumerism and capitalism makes us vain and selfish. The true meaning of life is, to love your fellow man and embrace the simpler things. But it's a very base level Marxist critique. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's very base.
It doesn't come across to me as someone that truly understands Marxism. It's someone that read the Wikipedia article for the Communist Manifesto and was like, yes. They throw out terms like bourgeoisie and stuff like that. Like, that's the extent of it. So I think.
But I really like what they kind of were trying to do with it a little bit, where you really only see it until the 5th or 6th episode. But when they blow up the Bachelor board, like, Archangelo becomes a nicer character.
Right.
And then when it comes back, he becomes his rival again. And it's because of that, and Helen even says it's like kind of like this symbol of, all the things that Neo Yokio stand for. And by blowing it up, like, people start to change. And the characters started to change after the blowing up the board. And it's just this really cool, like, I thought it was, again, a decent attempt at doing it.
Okay, well, so this might be where we kind of diverge in opinion here, because I think, again, going back to the inconsistency thing, it has those moments that I'm like, okay, that actually is legit Marxist critique. But then occasionally I'm just like, I feel like this has been retreaded so many times in, like, dystopian... I mean, well, that's another thing. This is actually subtly a work of dystopian fiction. I feel like a lot of people aren't realizing that.
We'll talk about the world. We're going to have a long talk
I want to talk about the world, because the world is just so bizarre. But anyway, there are moments where it is, like, subtly a good Marxist critique, but then you have moments where Jaden Smith's character literally just goes, I'm starting to think that Neo Yokio isn't the greatest city in the world. It's like, yeah, okay, no shit. Good for you, man. You came to that conclusion. Good for you. I don't think you needed Marxism to realize that.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
And again, I guess it was just part of the thing where I felt like, for coming from an anime fan, at least they were trying.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah.
kind of like. That's why I say it's a decent attempt.
It's an attempt.
Is because at least they had some sort of theme in the show. And I think that's where I think that's why I liked it a bit, was because it was just like, yeah, I kind of just enjoy it because at least there's something behind this.
Right. Okay. Do you want to talk about the world?
Like, yeah, let's talk about the world.
Okay. So
the world is one of the most interesting details that I wish was talked about more in this show.
it's I have so many questions that can't be answered unless I meet Ezra Koenig, and I lock him in a room and I'm like, I have a piece of paper here with a bunch of questions. You're gonna answer these. So, like I said, it's kind of like this hyper futuristic but also retro futuristic
World.
hyper capitalistic, yeah, like interpretation of New York City.
Because New York is its own city-state.
Exactly. It's not part of the United States anymore. It's a city-state called, they rebranded Neo Yokio. And
Because when they sung the anthem, I was like, that's not the United States anthem.
No.
And then I realized, I'm like, no, that's the Neo Yokio anthem, because this is a different country.
exactly. It's its own independent entity within the United States. And did you notice the World Trade Center is still there?
The two towers are still
Yeah.
there because they have lunch at the two towers.
Yeah, but it's underwater because I guess global warming happened or something. So
Yeah,
it's like
half of New York is underwater.
it's like an alternate reality. And then there's they have a walled-in interpretation of Brooklyn, kind of like what's that called? It was in China, the walled city in China. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like the Chinese markets kind of way?
No, it was like a giant slum. It got shut down.
Yeah.
Kowloon. It was this giant
Okay.
walled city in Hong Kong. It was like an old military fortress that they turned into a giant slum, and no one lives there anymore because it's a death trap. But so was it Brooklyn or the Bronx? That it was this giant walled in.
It was like the 6th episode where they
Yeah.
go into the slums.
Yeah, it's the
I
slums.
know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So it's just this weird dystopia interpretation of New York City. But another thing that kind of got me is there are other countries that don't exist. Like the Soviet Union is still a thing.
No, the one that confused me was that Kaz goes, "Oh, the Russians," and they correct him, and then he goes, "I mean the Soviet Union."
Yeah, the Soviets. The Soviet Union is still a thing. There's a character that is a Russian Soviet race car driver who defects to Neo Yokio because she doesn't like being a communist.
Yeah.
But then also, they kind of imply that Japan and Italy are the same country.
Oh, I didn't catch that
You didn't
one.
catch that. The guy that is the race car driver, he's from... Oh, I really should have written this down. Dang it. What was his name?
Let's go to the Neo Yokio Wikia.
Do they have a wiki? But anyway,
I hope they
he
do.
was from it was called Giopano or something like that, and you notice the flag patch on him, it was like a circle, kind of like the Rising Sun flag, but it was cut down the middle and it was red and green, like the flag of Italy. And so he has an Italian accent, but his last name is very Japanese. They also implied that French Canada was independent from Canada. Where a bunch of people all live by themselves. That was also really strange. Yeah, it's just I have so many questions.
There's so many things about the world that I wish was more expanded on, because it's one of the most interesting details, but the fact that France might be actually controlled by Chanel.
Oh, I didn't pick that up. Oh man.
There's so many little interesting details about it, where's South Kakalaka? Or,
Yeah. South Kakalaka.
like there's so many things that I felt like the world was at least like again, I would love to just I want a book that just is the history of the world.
How Neo Yokio gained independence.
Yeah, like that's a world that I want to know its history. Like it's so there's so many things that are going on with it that's the part of the thing where I keep saying of like there's some genius in this show, but it's hidden.
Yeah, they're little sparkles. They're kind of just hidden here or there. And you have to really stick with it.
Yeah, you really have to stick with it because if you don't, you're not gonna get to the good stuff that's in the end.
Which you know what this whole show is leading up to? It's Steve Buscemi's character.
Oh, it leads up to Steve Buscemi's character so well.
This show peaks when Steve Buscemi comes on the scene. Yeah.
Dude, vaping, man, just like smoking a cigarette. Tastes just like smoking a cigarette.
So, essentially, again, going back to the world of this show, Neo Yokio, again, is a city-state. And I guess they kind of subtly imply with Steve Buscemi's character that there is a secretive society.
It's an authoritarian.
Yeah, it's an authoritarian secretive society that controls the city. So they hire this guy who's like an independent police officer detective. His name is the Remembrancer, and he's essentially
he's dressed like a judge.
He's dressed like a 1700s judge with the powdered wig and everything, and he is basically an inquisitor for the powers that be that control Neo Yokio. And he tries to maintain the status quo and the hyper-capitalist drive of the city.
And he vapes.
Yeah.
I can't keep going. That's the best scene
He
he's in.
vapes. If there's any way to instantly date your series, it's putting in a vape pen. But that scene is so funny. So they're trying to hide this girl that Kaz saved in the first episode because she becomes a Marxist and she doesn't like capitalism.
Yeah. She blows up the Bachelor Board.
Which, the Bachelor Board is like a numbered system, if we didn't explain this earlier, to represent who is the most eligible bachelor in the city, which
Kaz was number one at some point until he didn't wear the midnight blue suit.
So Jaden Smith and Jason Schwartzman's characters are fighting over who's the most eligible bachelor in the city. It's like a status symbol. So she blows it up.
Which...
go ahead. Elaborate. What are you going to say?
Which my favorite moment from Jason Schwartzman's character is them on the racetrack and just going, Kaz, I won't help you unless you call me I'm your homie.
There's a race interpretation there that you could go into, like racial, but I won't delve into that. I don't have the
me either. I don't have the accreditation.
I mean, we're both brown boys, but I don't think we should get into this. Anyway,
we're not of the brown.
No, not that brown.
But yeah, so they're trying to save her from getting caught by the Remembrancer,
who again is like an inquisitor. So I'm assuming she's going to get executed for her crimes, her thought crimes. But anyway, so they hide her.
It's vaping.
They hide her on a balcony, and they're trying to hide her so Steve Buscemi doesn't find her. And he comes into the room, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry. Mind if I smoke?" And then so Jaden Smith's character is like, "Oh, I don't know if you should smoke in here. The neighbors are very testy about smoke." And he pulls out a vape pen. He's like, "Oh, don't worry. I brought my vape." And it comes out of nowhere because this whole character, you think he's just like this by the books like detective, like real creepy, but he has a vape.
Yeah.
He also enjoys oysters. later in the series, after he has his vape and he's like, yes, I think that's enough vaping for now. And then he closes the window.
Tastes just like a cigarette.
He closes the window and leaves. But later on, they run into him at the train station, and they ask him like, "Oh, Remembrancer, why are you here?" He's like, "I'm here to eat at the city's premier oyster bar." And he's like, "Would you like to join me?"
All voiced by the brilliant Steve Buscemi.
Brilliant Steve Buscemi. I'm doing a terrible interpretation, but just imagine Steve Buscemi's voice
on a 1700s judge vaping. And you got the picture.
And slurping down oysters.
Like, he's the best. Like, And that's what I have to say about it, is when you get to the end, there's just so many, like, shining moments that you just can't get, like, you don't see anywhere else. And you go, this is one of the most unique things that's ever been made. The fact, okay, rolling back, the fact that the Jude Law mech is actually piloted by a really tiny woman.
Yeah, a tiny woman who sounds like this.
Is one of the most subversion of, like, oh.
He's like, you find out so you can buy these mechs. Again, questions about the world, but Jaden Smith's character bought his mech secondhand. So somebody else owned this mech with a tiny woman inside of it before him and decided to put it up for sale.
And there's all sorts of questions that you have to ask of, how does she eat?
Yeah.
When does she sleep? Like, does she go into stasis when she gets into the mech? It's unclear.
Why is she voiced by a British man? I don't get it.
And then he gets a new one at the end.
Yeah. Charles 2.0.
And, you know, Caprese, man. Caprese. Which, I need to try that.
I doubt it's a thing you can actually do. So, also, Kaz has these two recurring friends who... A funny tweet that I saw, which... It says it was like, they're written like someone is trying to write a black person who's never met a real black person before.
Yes!
Which it's
we gotta get these...
But his two best friends...
That's so true.
Yeah, they're his two best friends, and they hang out with him, and like they talk like they're trying to be like street, but they're also rich like him. I don't think you ever see their parents either. I have no idea where these guys came from. But they hang out with him, and then they open a bar where they make caprese margaritas or martinis. So it's supposed to be like a caprese salad. So it has like a tomato juice and like mozzarella cheese in it. It's so weird. Again,
and a tomato.
Tomato. Yeah, the show is so unique. It's so bizarre that you want to see more about it. I can't describe the feeling that it gives me.
If this is just a show about a different story about what's going on in the world, every episode, I would, like, if this was a long-running series of just what's new in this world with no overarching plot, right. I would watch
What's going on in Neo Yokio today?
But, like, not even Neo Yokio, like, let's just cut to South Kakalaka. Let's just cut to, France, controlled by Chanel, probably. Let's go to Italy, Japan. Like, it's just these little details that you're just like, what is I need to know more. And I think that's the conclusion as we wrap up here. Yes. That we have to say is that this is, again, one of the most terribly executed shows in like the past decade.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here wanting more.
Yeah. So that makes me hopeful that if they do get a second season, the animation quality will go up. They'll actually get some good audio mixing. Maybe some music. I feel like the music was kind of spotty.
Yeah, I do have to agree with that. I like the little classical music that they had, but I do agree with that. I hope that they don't actually legitimately phone in all of their voice actors. when you texted me that, where you're like, it sounds like they recorded these people on a phone, like they're on the phone, and I was just like, you know what? They probably did phone some of these voice acting.
One last bit that I want to talk about. Is just just bring it up. I'll stop bringing up issues that I have with this show. But the first episode, there's literally a moment where one of the characters is talking. It's one of his friends when Kaz shows up to their stickball game or whatever they play, field hockey.
Field hockey.
And he's talking, and you can tell that the line that he was delivering kept going, but they cut it off. And you can hear the hard
cut. Notice that.
Like he's like mid sentence. He's like, "Yeah, oh, it's a good thing that Kaz is here finally, because we can finally win." And like it just stops. And I'm just like, "What was he saying?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, the gist is it's a fascinating show that just poorly executed.
Yeah, no, definitely. That is definitely a thing that I have to agree
Yeah.
with, is that it's super poorly executed. But you know what? It's a very decent
Yeah.
show.
I laughed when it was trying to be funny. I legitimately laughed. So
And here's what I'm gonna do with this: is that I'm gonna cut off this. I'm gonna put the full thing on YouTube, but then I'm gonna cut off this little discussion about Neo Yokio here. And I know the title already. It's Neo Yokio, an actually decent is actually a decent show.
so
Because we're sitting here just talking about
Yeah.
it, how we normally talk about stuff, and it's just so like just the amount of things that we can talk about this show. And afterwards, I was thinking about this show. Like, after a day I finished it, I was, like, thinking about it and trying to, like, piece together what I just saw.
right.
It sticks with you.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to say, is that it's not a forgettable series.
No. It definitely it has personality, and it has, like I said, passion. It's just it doesn't have the skill or elegance behind it that I think it deserves.
Yeah. And that would be it for our main section.
Ooh, baby.
And before we wrap up, what are you excited for in the coming weeks to come out?
What am I looking forward to?
What are you watching? What are you playing?
Well, I'm still
What are you
trying to get through JoJo, so I'll let you know how that
Okay.
goes. You know what's that? You'd actually
In like a month when we record another one,
Yeah.
we'll probably be a good amount away.
Dato, what I'm gonna say, the thing
Yeah.
I'm most excited for when it's coming back is it's coming back this month. Okay, it's a little show called Riverdale. Okay, this is a whole episode that I think could be itself. I want you to watch Riverdale, and then we'll talk about it
Okay, that comes out in October.
later this month. Yes.
Okay, so when I'm back from my trip,
Yeah.
that will be our follow up.
Watch Riverdale. I'm gonna warn you now. It's a teen drama, so be prepared for that. Go into it,
Okay.
and just don't take it seriously. Look at it like a melodramatic black comedy.
Fantastic. All right. What else am I? What am I excited? I'm excited to play more Cuphead.
Oh yeah, so am I. Gotta beat it.
I'm excited for the new John Dies at the End book.
Oh yeah, I need to buy that.
I'm probably, after we get off this call, I'm gonna read a little bit of this and go to the gym. So I will maybe even bring this and figure out a way to exercise with a book.
Well, actually, you know what else I'm excited for? That comes out this month too.
What are you excited for?
Super Mario Odyssey.
What? Yes, that comes out. I don't have a Switch, but
Buddy, gotta get a Switch.
dude, that's money I don't
Yeah,
have.
that's a problem. See, I bought mine when it came out, so
Like you, I'm unemployed. So
gotta get jobs before we can buy Switches. Yeah.
unemployed, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what?
Yeah.
I've told you about that, but
I think we're going too deep into this.
yeah. But the minute I am not unemployed, that's something I will be getting. But I think that should wrap up the first episode of the Brown Bagging Podcast.
Yeah. Thank you
very much for listening.
Thank you for sitting down and listening to us ramble about pop culture.
If you're one of the 10 people,
Yes.
or actually 10 people, one person who got to this part, thank you very much.
I commend your stamina and your willpower.
But that's all for us. Thank you, and hope to see you next time.
See ya.